Everyone, it's Crypto Granny here, Susie. I hope you're all well, looking after yourself, looking after your beautiful families, beautiful children, and beautiful animals and other people and animals in this world, plus the environment, just to make this world a better place. Now, let's have a look at live coin watch today. Grab yourself a cup of coffee. Got a few news stories out there which are bullish for this crypto market. Market cap at the moment is 3.647 trillion. Volume's quite large, actually, at 114, nearly 115 bill, and liquidity is very good at 9.574 bill. Going back a couple of years ago, that liquidity was around 2.5 bill. So that's quite substantial increase in liquidity in the crypto market, and that's very good for the crypto market. It means that there's many more players in this market than there were a couple of years ago. Okay, so I always look at those figures because it tells you what's happening in the market. Certainly, if liquidity goes down, it means that people are selling, and if liquidity goes up, people are actually buying. Okay. So what we've got here at the moment is Bitcoin is just below 114,000. We have seen some buyers of Bitcoin just recently. Galaxy was certainly adding to Bitcoin, something like 4,200 units of Bitcoin. We saw a few others buying Bitcoin as well, other corporate treasuries as well. There's a lot of interest in corporate treasuries to buy Bitcoin, and that's not surprising because there's many corporate treasuries out there that sit on a lot of cash. And, Bitcoin is an alternative asset class, okay? And certainly with stagflation in the system and what's happening with the US, trading deficits and their debt, Bitcoin is a good alternative to buy. Robert Kiyosaki has said many times that you're better off being in Bitcoin and gold over and above normal risk assets such as the equity market. Bitcoin dominance at the moment is 62.160. 62.1610, I should say. That dominance, I believe, will reduce as the altcoins start to rally, and I believe they will start to rally very soon. The Fed is not cutting rates yet, but there's a movement certainly in the system. Obviously, Mr. Trump is calling the Fed to cut rates quite substantially. I agree with that. They should be cutting rates. Things in the US are very bad. I don't know whether you saw the factory orders the other day. They were off, they were just declining off the cliff. So not a great story for employment either in the US either. So I think the Fed needs to cut rates, okay? And the bond market is certainly suggesting that when you look at the interest rate futures curve going forward, there's about 95% chance that they will cut rates in September, around 16th or the 17th of September. So Ethereum currently is at 3,585, off 1.39%. Keep an eye on the dominance of Ethereum. It has dramatically fallen from a year ago. It was around 25%. Now currently it's 11.5742%. XRP didn't hold 305 yesterday, 306. Technically, it does look like there could be more profit taking on XRP. It doesn't surprise me. It's had a mega return for the year, 486%. And that dominance was over 5%. So you could see a bit of fallback in XRP. Some of the analysts are saying if it breaks on the way down at 288, you may get it down to 240 or 250. And that's certainly where I'm targeting to buy some XRP. And, some of my clients are probably looking to buy into XRP at that level, 240 to 250, something like that. It's off 3.13%. A lot of people are in profit on XRP, whether they start selling. The proof is in the pudding. We just have to see. But some of the technicals don't look very bullish at the moment for XRP. So short term, we may see a bit of a dip at XRP, and then I think it'll be well supported around that $2.50 level, $2.40 level. Binance is doing very well. Hasn't moved much, just like Tron, $750 at the moment. I expect their dominance to increase. I really love Binance. I think it's extremely cheap. They are making billions of dollars, people, billions of dollars. And now we've got treasuries that are starting to buy Binance, okay? And you're going to see that theme throughout the crypto market. Corporate treasuries starting to buy cryptocurrency, okay? And you're going to continue to see that. Now, Solana is at 163.48. We know there's a couple of whales out there that are looking to sell some Solana, even though on network activity is at all-time highs, okay? That, they've got you on Solana, you can print your own tokens, you can mint your own tokens, and you know that network offers people the utility to be able to mint your own tokens. And just in a day, there was 25,000 different tokens minted on Solana, which I think is a good story for Solana. Tron is holding up very, very well. They did do a buyback the other day, $1 billion. And, you know, I do like Tron. I think it's a buy here. It's as cheap as cheap as cheap. If you look at their quarterly revenue figures, they're up nearly $1 billion. Justin Sun, to me, is doing everything right. And I think Tron technically looks the strongest of everything in this market. And Tron could easily get to $1 or $1.30 or even five, you know, $4, $3. It's got the revenue and the fundamentals to sustain that. So I'm expecting the dominance on Tron to increase from 0.79 to somewhere like 4.5% like XRP, okay? Also, ADA, they had an upgrade where they asked, you know, their investors through a DAO, basically can we upgrade the system and can we do certain things in terms of the system? And that was voted yes. So that was good for ADA. Dodge, a big whale came out and bought, you know, quite a lot of Dodge, something like, you know, 100 million, or it was more than that. So that's holding in quite well. XLM, I think, is going to show weakness. If XRP shows weakness, so will XLM. So it seems to be trading hand in hand. Not surprising, because XLM is using the system of Ripple. Okay, very similar system. They actually copied it. So if you're going to be in anything, you'd rather be in XRP than XLM. That's my firm opinion. BCH, I'm expecting performance out of as Bitcoin becomes more and more expensive. People will start to substitute into BCH, okay, which is a derivation of Bitcoin. And, you know, they're doing a lot of transactions, okay, and the system is very, very profitable. Link is an absolute gimme. It is too cheap here, people. They are putting on new clients every day, as I keep repeating. I feel like a drum, banging that drum all the time, re-Link, but it's an amazing story. And, you know, now they're creating a system where Wall Street can tokenize equity assets as well as fixed interest bond assets, okay? And, you know, their pricing oracles are amazing, right? We're keeping an eye on HBAR. There's been a few sellers for HBAR, something like a $42 million parcel went through in the last day or so. But, you know, again, it's holding up quite well. We're keeping an eye on Avalanche too at 21.82. Probably look to buy some of those as the market comes down. Litecoins perform very well. We're starting to see corporate treasuries go into Litecoin as well. So it doesn't surprise. And Pepe is holding in there at 4.010. That's my favorite meme of all. I don't normally hold memes, but in our investment portfolio, number 7, we're actually holding Pepe because we think it's a great story. We're also keeping an eye on Crow. It had some pretty good news stories. It's expanding globally. It's trying to get a footprint in Europe as well as Asia and the Middle East. And I think that's a very cheap coin also. We were in Crow years ago, so we're also keeping an eye on that one as well. And a few others like DOT, for example, and VeChain, which I think VeChain is a gimme. It's so cheap, it's a joke. Anyway, wherever you are in the world, please grab yourself a cup of coffee. We'll look at the technicals. Not all the technicals, clearly. We can't look at everything, but we do look at the main cryptos that we have an interest in or we hold. And then we'll talk about some of the main news stories on Twitter and just what's in the press at the moment today. I'm trying to do a new format here, so bear with me on this. And you know, trying to give people an update of what's going on in the crypto market for learning particularly. And you know, if you like my videos, please give me a thumbs up. That's very encouraging. So grab yourself a cup of coffee wherever you are in the world, and let's look at the technicals. What we've got here is Bitcoin US Tether, and on a 3 monthly, we've got a buy on Bitcoin, and it's way above the value, the VWAP, okay, and you know, value at price, value weighted at price, or volume weighted at price is VWAP. But you know, again, this is a buy here. When we look at the 3 months, we've got buys of 283,000 vis-a-vis negative 270. So that's well supported, and we do see major players buying Bitcoin. We know MicroStrategy's out there continually buying Bitcoin. We know other corporate treasuries are continuing to buy Bitcoin, and more corporate treasuries are coming into Bitcoin. You'll see with the news stories, pretty much Bhutan is holding Bitcoin. Now Indonesia's talking about a strategic reserve to buy Bitcoin, as well as Brazil. There might be a meeting on 20th of August to buy Bitcoin as well. And that's going to give a lot of support to Bitcoin. Even though there are a lot of whales in the system at the moment, I think Bitcoin, it may drop to 111,000, but I think any dip is the place to buy Bitcoin. Okay, that's my view. On the daily, it does look a little bit heavy here. It's right on the VWAP on the daily. It could push down. It could potentially push down to potentially 111, 200, something like that. But I do believe any sell-off in Bitcoin, reasonable sell-off, is going to bring buyers out. I mean, I'm certainly targeting Bitcoin for a new buy around 110,500, something like that. So, but it does need to, on the daily, hold the VWAP. If you go the 4 hours, and if you look at the up volume on this, 2.23, down volume 1.9. If you go the 4 hours, it's right on VWAP at the moment. We've just been given another buy, but I guess, it's pretty much even Stevens on the buys and the sells in terms of volume. So we just have to wait and see which way this price action, turns out. But mind you, what's happening in terms of financial markets is very bullish for Bitcoin, because the interest rate curve looks like they're going to lower rates, and I believe they should, and I believe they will lower rates in September, and that's going to be very bullish for risk assets, including cryptocurrency. Now, also, Mr. Trump is looking at replacing the Fed chair, Jerome Powell, okay? And he can do that because he is the president of America, even though Mr. Powell's contract doesn't finish until early, I think it's May of 2026. But he's looking to replace him because he basically believes that the Fed should have been rate cutting many, many months earlier, and I believe the same story. If we go to XRP, always interesting, and we'll have a look at ethereum as well. We go to 3 months at XRP. I like to look at the longer term charts on this. We go to 3 months on XRP, currently it's around 294. And, this week is still a buy week, right? If we look at the up volume, it's 4.56 billion, and the down volume is 4.15 billion. So the buyers are still in play for XRP on the 3 monthly. We go the daily on this one. We have got to sell on the daily. It's right on VWAP. So I'd like to see that hold, but if it does push down below VWAP, could get to maybe 276, something like that. I think if it goes lower, you're going to find a lot of buying support around this 252 level. That's my view. If it breaks through, here we go. If it breaks through 277, the next level is around 255, something like that. And I think that will be well supported there for XRP. If we look at the daily, ups to 33 million, downs to 31 million. So it is supported by volume, okay, on the way up. If we go to the 4 hours on this, the 4 hours on the way up, 2.98 mil, and down on the way down, 278. So just needs to hold that VWAP to be off to the races again and get through $3. And to get through $3, it could start, taking out its highs again. But we have to watch this very closely in the next couple of days, because either way, this thing's going to break up or it's going to break down. But there are some whales out there buying XRP at the moment, which is always a good story. Let's have a look at Ethereum. Okay, let's go to 3 months on Ethereum. Let's get rid of all that drawing. I love to draw on charts. One of my hobbies. Okay, so what do we got for Ethereum? Up 11.61, down 10.72. Pretty much even Stevens. Let me just have a cup of coffee. Bear with me for a minute. Doing well above the VWAP, which is what we like to see for a technically bullish chart. Oh, love coffee. Okay, what would I do without a coffee? I don't know. We look at the daily. We've been given a sell on this, which is very interesting. The VWAP on the daily is, what have we got here? 3551. Technically, it could move down there to that VWAP at 3551. and I wouldn't like to see it break through the VWAP, but if it does, the next support level is pretty much 3388. Now we look at the up volume, 95 on the way up and 90 on the way down. So let's go to the 4 hours, like the 4 hours as well. On the 4 hours, we've got a mixed message here. It's not very clear what's going to happen on the 4 hours, but if we look at the volume, certainly down volume outweighs up volume. So up volume's 9.45, down volume's 15.4. We could see some weakness in Ethereum. It looks a bit weaker than the other 4-hour charts that we've just looked at. Now that doesn't surprise me because you had digital Galaxy out there selling XRP, and you also had Galaxy selling Ethereum and going into Bitcoin. Okay, so that's basically a security, a defensive trade, if you want to call it that, getting out of the alts and going into Bitcoin. So Galaxy did that, pretty much yesterday. So let's have a look at something else here. Let's look at Link. Oh no, let's look at Binance first. I really love Binance, as you know. And let's go to 3 months on Binance. So up volume for Binance is 4.73 and down volume is 4.29. Looks technically very strong. This we have got a buy on Binance. Looks very strong technically. It's a very nice chart. If we go the daily, we find the daily, there's more on the selling of 42.39 compared to up of 39. Okay, so yeah, it looks like Binance can pull back a little bit. There is a lot of support by corporate treasuries to buy Binance. It's a mega naut. It's very cheap at the moment. Very, very cheap. And you might see some pullback on that, maybe to 750, something like that, 744 potentially, or even about 744, something like that on that. If we go to the 4 hours on Binance, a very mixed chart at the moment. So if we look at the 4 hours, there are more sellers, 3.45 vis-a-vis the way up on the volume up, 2.52. Okay, so there are more sellers on Binance. We might see some weakness on that one. Let's have a look at Tron, which is one of the strongest technical charts I've seen for some time. It's why I love Tron. I think it's very, very cheap. Very cheap. I mean, this is an ultra bullish chart, people, no matter which way you look at it. It looks like it's going to break out to me. At its high, it got to, 43 cents or 35 cents. But they've got the revenue. Tron's an amazing story, and I think it's going to go much higher than this. If we go the 3 months on Tron, that is a bullish chart, whichever way you look at it, really bullish. This thing could get to 33 cents, 44 cents very quickly, 45 cents. It's probably one of the most bullish charts I've seen, okay? Very, very bullish indeed. If we go the 3-month volume on this, 9.35 bill, down volume is 9.11 bill. Let's go the daily on this one to see if we can glean anything from that. It is above the VWAP, which is quite bullish. Looks a lot better technically than some of the other charts we just looked at, okay? So this thing initially could get to 35 cents, and then I'm calling 45 cents. It's a very, very bullish chart. If we look at the up volume on Tron, it's 127 million vis-a-vis down volume of 92. Very bullish chart indeed. If we look at the 4 hours, up volume 12.44, down volume 21.67. It's holding in quite well. I think you could probably safely buy Tron, if it gets to 30 cents, I think you could safely buy it around 30 cents, waiting for the next up move. It looks pretty good to me. I've got to tell you, it's probably, to me, it's one of the strongest charts in the market at this stage. Let's have a look at Link. And then we'll look at Dodge, because there was a few sellers on Dodge as well overnight. If we look at Link, it's right on VWAP here. Link at 1634. VWAP comes in, no, it's right, not right on it. VWAP comes in around, if I look at that, 1434. I wouldn't like to see this go below VWAP, okay? If we look at the volume on the way up, it's 71 million. If we look at the volume on the way down, it's 64 mil. So let's have a look at this. It has got a rounding top, so that's technically not great. But volume on the way up, 434, volume on the way down, 409. So just at the moment, we do have profit taking this crypto market. So we are expecting short term a bit of a pullback, but not a dramatic one. And I think, if you get a 5% or a 10% pullback, certainly on Link, you gotta buy it with your ears pinned back because they have the fundamental revenue. Their on-chain activity is insane. They're putting on new clients every day. And now Wall Street is starting to use Link's technology, and that's what they get paid for. That's what you want to see, okay? It's all very positive for Link, okay? If we look at the day, the 4 hours, volume is 31 up and 42 down. So you may get a bit of softness in Link, but the bigger picture, as far as I'm concerned, is up. Let's have a look at Dodge while we're at it. Some big whales selling Dodge yesterday. Oops, sorry about that. Go to the 3 month. I like to look at the 3 month because it really gives you a nice picture. If we look at the VWAP on Dodge for the 3 months, it currently comes in at 0.16543. And Dodge is currently at 20 cents at the moment. We have been given a big sell here, so we may see some weakness here. Up volumes 26 billion, down volumes the same. Let's look at the daily on this one. Looks like you could see a little bit more weakness in Dodge at this level. What else we got here? If you look at the daily on this, up 176 vis-a-vis down 166. Looks a bit heavy to me. I think you might get some pullback in this thing. Maybe, 15 cents or something like that. But nothing too dramatic, okay? If we look at the 4 hours, it's been well supported in the 4 hours, 20.72, down 15.81. And that goes with my thesis that there was a whale buying Dodge. What else do we want to look at today? Anything else that's of interest? Litecoin. Let's have a look at Litecoin. I think that's very interesting. We know there's some big buyers starting to buy Litecoin. It's getting a lot of very good press as well. So let's have a look at Litecoin. I like Litecoin. I'm looking for weakness in Litecoin to buy it. I don't know whether it'll get to $1.15, sorry, $1.05, but let's have a look at that one. Currently it's $1.15. Looks like we're going to get some weakness in Litecoin down here. Could come back to potentially maybe at 111. Looking at the 4 hours on that. 4 hours, we've got 12,000 odd up and 28,000 down. If we look at the daily, yeah, it looks like it could come back a bit. We've got a sell on this right pretty much at the VWAP at the moment on the daily. 189 up and 213 down. Looks like we could see some weakness on Litecoin. But any dip, I think, is to be bought. I think Litecoin is ultra cheap. In its heyday, it was way up over $400, okay? So if we look at the 3 monthly, the VWAP comes in 114.59. I'd like to see it hold that. If it doesn't, you may see this thing push back to $111, something like that. But in my mind, that is a buy level on Litecoin. Anyway, let's go to the news stories. If you like this new format, please subscribe and click, hands up or whatever you call it. And let's go to some of the main news stories today on Twitter and just in the press and cover what's happening. Overall, I am mega bullish in the bigger picture, in a 6-month view. I think this market's going to really, really take off. But, any dip in my mind's got to be well supported because crypto is still incredibly cheap. We're still looking, at the crypto market only being just above 3 trillion, and that's a very, very small market. Even, when we had the massive rally before the big sell-off in 2018, crypto got to 3 trillion. So, and a lot's changed, right? We're talking 2017 to now 2025. That's 7 years ago. And with what Mr. Trump's doing, the potential that he might find banks if they don't open the doors up for cryptocurrency. I don't know how many times I've tried to pay with a Visa card from a bank to buy crypto and they've stopped me from doing it. The banks have been doing that for years, right? And I think Mr. Trump's executive order is the right order to stop the banks from, literally stopping everyone from buying crypto. So I think that's very bullish. Plus with rate cuts, it's going to even be more bullish for risk assets. Anyway, let's go to the news stories and see what we can glean from those news stories. Now, these are some of the main news stories on Twitter today. Now, I think it's always very interesting. The Fed is certainly starting to price in rate cuts. We had some good information Chainlink. Also, SBI Japan is planning to launch two ETFs. Binance is performing better than most cryptos out there, and we see it near its all-time high. We also see Mr. Trump. There's going to be a meeting this afternoon. No one knows what that's about. Mr. Trump is looking at fining banks if they don't open up cryptocurrency. People are very concerned about stagflation because of the tariffs. And as I said, SBI Holdings is files for XRP and Bitcoin ETFs, right? Everyone's getting a bit sick of Ripple and the case, which is due on the 15th. Brazil is looking to hold a public meeting on National Bitcoin Reserve. Michigan State Pension triples their investment in Bitcoin ETF. Plus Galaxy added 4272 Bitcoin and reduces XRP. We did see Bhutan government move some money out of their wallet. Another thing too, Solana. A lot of Solana is vanishing from the exchanges. Now, Mr. Trump also, as you know, described replacing Jeremy Powell, and he thinks that Mr. Powell should have been cutting interest rates much quicker than what he's done. Okay, he's considering 4 different people, and Mr. Powell's term continues until May 2026, right? He does, Mr. Trump, have the authority to get rid of Mr. Powell, okay? And I think we need someone that's very, very proactive in cutting interest rates, simply because economic growth in the US, like everywhere else, is very bad at the moment. The leading candidates are Kevin Walsh, Kevin Asset, and Chris Walker, with respective probabilities. And I think that's going to be very, very interesting. People also, as I mentioned before, are very concerned about tariffs and how that's going to increase stagflation going forward. And also high tariffs on Indian goods as well as Russian goods. And many people are concerned that will increase inflation and increase the costs of buying, product, particularly if it's overseas product. So Mr. Trump has accused J.P. Morgan, the Bank of America, of unfair treatment when it comes to their banking practices when it comes to cryptocurrency, and that doesn't surprise me. He wants, effectively the whole market to open up for cryptocurrency and to make America great again, and basically, do everything in his power to get this cryptocurrency market moving. And that's why I'm so bullish cryptocurrency. You can't go against the Fed, okay? The White House is looking at the crypto debanking order and, basically, essentially punishing banks for debanking crypto firms. And I think that's going to be very interesting to see what happens there if he does that. Absolutely fascinating to see what happens if he decides to do that. I mean, is he going to fine the banks, or what is he going to do here? Really, who knows? But it can only be bullish for for cryptocurrency. Okay. And that report came from Wall Street, and it's a pretty good source that said that. So we just have to see what happens here. But, I think it's going to make it easier. So Bitcoin currently, as we saw, is about 114,000 at the moment. But I think it's going to be very well supported by clearly the ETFs in the market. And every time there's new ETFs in the market, they have to buy, right? Now, a big news story today is Coinbase. They intend to do a $2 billion issue for future expansion, and that includes buying back their own stock on the stock exchange. Okay, so they're going to do a $2 billion convertible senior note offering. It's a debt offering, and potentially they're going to buy back some of their shares, which is good for investors that are in Coinbase. Now, what they want to do clearly is use this to increase their global footprint, okay, in the world. They want to basically expand in Europe, Asia, and the Middle East and increase their global footprint. And this is no different to other companies like MicroStrategy issuing debt and effectively, buying Bitcoin. And clearly this is what Coinbase want to do. They want to basically use debt and equity to buy Bitcoin. But in saying that, they're also going to buy back a little bit of their debt. They've also acquired quite a bit of Bitcoin as well. Next story is Ripple. He essentially talking about the SEC, talking about the regulators. I mean, everyone's so fed up with this Fed income, but the big date is the 15th of August that we need to look at. and see what happens there. The SEC is not giving up, even though there's been a change from Mr. Gensler. Ripple is still under, still really under the pump with the SEC. Okay, we don't know what's going to happen. So hopefully the 15th of August will change that dilemma for XRP, and if it does, then we should see a rally out of XRP. Okay. Again, look, the SEC had regulatory overreach, and I agree with that. I think was just too slow, and it's been taking years, and people are just fed up with it. I don't know about what you guys think, but I'm absolutely over the SEC and Ripple, seriously. The 15th of August, as I said, is the date to keep an eye out for what happens with Ripple. Okay. With Ripple and XRP. It should be quite bullish for the coin if they actually give up the SEC on the law case, right? Because it just seems to be, people are just absolutely getting sick of it. Absolutely sick of it. So we just have to wait and see what happens there. Okay, what's the next story we've got here? It's always hard to talk to these things because you don't know what's coming up. But I'm trying to incorporate things where we can see what's happening in terms of the news and that sort of thing. Ripple is, has criticised the government in the past and the SEC. There's no doubt about that. People are calling for the 15th of August as being a very, very important date. Very important date for Ripple. Now, there's been some terrific stories re Chainlink. It's a game changer, where they're offering services for the pricing of US equities, okay? And where they're offering the services to Wall Street of basically tokenization of Wall Street. It's the leading price oracle, and it's a leading in DeFi. Meissen Bank recently integrated Chainlink as well, and again, we're seeing it in many different banks that need Chainlink services, okay? Chainlink should be, in my mind, $55. It is so cheap, it is a joke, right? And with this launch of tokenized stocks and funds, it will directly offer pricing oracles for those funds, okay? It has amazing partnerships, and it has an amazing client base. And I think, Chainlink at $16.32 is seriously cheap for what it is. It really is very, very cheap, and I'm very, very bullish Chainlink. With smart contracts, essentially they can eliminate the middleman, it's a very great story. If you look at the technicals, 1580 is a big level of support, another level is 1450. But I think any pullback in Chainlink, I'm an absolute buyer of Chainlink. The ecosystem is evolving. It is an incredible story, and honestly, everyone needs to use Chainlink. It is seamless blockchain security. It's as simple as that. With its new layer, Chainlink can do anything, right? And it's offering data streams to Wall Street. Okay, it's as simple as that. It's just an amazing story, and that's its new infrastructure. Chainlink is fast, it is cheap, it has low latency. It aggregates information from various sources to ensure accuracy in terms of pricing. It has stamp dates. It allows for precise liquidation, trade halts, and is the link between traditional finance and cryptocurrency. Okay, and it's the technology opens the door for financial strategies and arbitrage. So, again, I got to say, Chainlink is an incredible story, and it shouldn't be where it is priced. Also, Crow, another thing we look at, is showing quite a good story. Technically, it's starting to look like it can actually bounce from here, and this is one we've held before. And apparently, according to Llama, they're increasing the growth of their stable coins, and that's increased quite substantially in the last couple of months, right? And it doesn't surprise me because Crow is now actively trying to expand in Europe, in the Middle East, and in Asia. So, it's certainly one for us to keep an eye on. We used to invest in Crow, and there is some talk that there could be an ETF for Crow as well. So if you have a look at it, it looks like it's formed a bullish pennant, and it may be one to keep an eye on for further gains going forward. It has been a lot higher than where it is at the moment, but and the fact that it's expanding into DeFi, and it's quite well supported by other operations. Also, their exchange is proving very lucrative as well. So it could be quite a good story to keep an eye on Crow. Now the next technology I want to talk about is Tron. It's a layer 1 blockchain, and its decentralized automated organization is basically seeing a lot of growth, right? Apparently there was 600 million transfers in one day, and Tron launched in 2017. If you remember rightly, it used to be on Ethereum, but I tell you, its profitability is unbelievable. It actually offers free transactions on its system, and it's building a power system really. And you can actually also use Tron's stablecoin USDD. It's increasing in decentralization. They have a partnership with Chainlink. They're using Chainlink's technology, and it's scaled. It's absolutely scaled itself. It's a very fast cryptocurrency payment system. And really, when you think about it, Tron is in competition with XRP, okay? It's looking at more than real world assets. It's investing in community events and grants, and offers a lot of incentives. And they're trying to expand into Europe, the Middle East, and Asia as well, okay? So, there's been a rise in in cross-border payments using Tron, okay? Another story, re Solano. In terms of staking rewards, people are buying Solano to actually stake Solano, okay? And that should be quite supportive for Solano. A whale bought 227,000 Solano, 4.5 million, and what they did is they staked it on Solano's platform. So Solano's got a very good staking tool where you can get quite a nice yield for staking, and many of the professional players will do that, okay? So there's been other companies that have been buying Solano to actually stake Solano, and once it gets staked, as you know, it takes it out of circulating supply because it actually goes into the network of Solano and earns a yield, okay, where you actually give up your own custody and put it on the network of Solano. So Solano should see quite a bit of support from its staking tool because the yields are quite good at the moment. And if you're a professional crypto holder like myself, you do look at staking, and you can earn 8%, which is a pretty good investment when you compare that to a 10-year bond rate at 4.35%. So anyway, people, that's enough for me today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe or thumbs up, and thank you very much for listening, and I'll talk to you very soon.